You're listening to the Wall Street Ledger. Welcome to all of our listeners. Pleased to have us on the line again is Chris Berlet. He's the president and CEO at Canuc Resources. Canuc Resources currently trades shares over the counter market ticker CNUCF, as well over the venture exchange ticker CDA. Chris, thank you for joining us here at the Wall Street Ledger.
Thanks, Nicholas. Great to see you again.
So would you tell us a little bit about the current project valuation at the company, and where do you see it in the next 2 to 3 years being valued at?
Okay. Valuation, current valuation is about 18 million. That's the market cap. I presume that was what you're talking about. We have cash flow. We've got eight producing wells in West Texas. But our primary driver of valuation would be discovery at San Javier. And we're seeking to prove IOCG model there. And there's some very big targets that we're drilling on, and everything looks quite compelling. So the metal inventory on these deposit types is, between 10 on the small end up to $30+ billion. And so they're large, valuable, high-grade concentrations of metal. And in our instance, we think there's more silver. There's copper and gold generally found in these deposit types, and we see lots of evidence of silver. This is Mexico after all, and the mantle in Mexico has a great deal of silver in it. So it's not inconsistent with that we might find a silver matrix, a kind of silver components in an IOCG deposit type in Mexico. So in terms of valuation, if we're successful, I would expect this is our objective, would be that the shares would reflect meaningfully, reflect a change in valuation resulting from confirmation that we have one of these deposit types. Again, in metal inventories for these deposits range from 10 billion on the small end to up to 30 billion plus. The known IOCG deposits that have become mines include Ernest Henry in Australia, Sacigo in Brazil, Candelaria in Chile, Olympic Dam in Australia. So there are features to these deposits, but the commonality is tremendous metal inventories, copper, gold, in some cases uranium, not in ours, thankfully, but we seem to have more silver.
Will the company look to strategic alliances and partnerships or joint ventures moving forward on any of the key projects? If that opportunity presents itself in a very compelling way for our shareholders, but really, at the end of the day, we're pretty convinced that we're going to have a significant metal inventory discovery here, a significant deposit type discovery, and so we'll do as much as we would look for material revaluation before we would look for that kind of joint venture, but it's within the scope of possibility. There's 2 other companies in close proximity to us that are working, actively drilling and exploring. And then there's, there could always be interest in this deposit type. So I won't shut the door on it or rule it out, but it's not something we're doing today. Okay, so let's switch gears a bit here and talk a little bit about the outlook that you see for 2022 at the company.
Okay. 2022, it's largely driven by what has happened in 2021. So right now we're mobilizing a much larger drill, kind of long year LF230. We're trying to complete our hole number 4. We're at 1,000 meters of depth, and we're about to hit, we believe, an intrusive, copper-bearing intrusive, which would be very significant geologically. And so we'll have information on that in the near term. We also have silver exploration targets that have provided large magnetic anomalies with silver and magnetite veins that come to surface very near to where the anomalies are, that we're going to be following up on and drilling in 2022 that could yield significant results for us. And we're also doing much more work on a gold copper zone that's proven to be quite extensive. Looks like it's 3 kilometers long. We have it at various intervals, about 600-800 meters apart. We're going to do infill on that. This is on surface so far, gold and copper bearing. So we'll do more work on that zone.
The immediate results we'd look for is confirmation of intrusive would be a very significant outcome. We could expect that by March, April timeframe with this long year LF230 that's coming in this week. Should be there today, should be here today. And we'll see we'll see also, we're taking the drill that we have now, we're going to be drilling the silver targets, and we'll expect to see results from that also in March of this year. Last year, we had some very significant geological information, despite having a slow year, in terms of drilling progress. We found that the silver in the magnetite veins, we've reported on and found extensive silver, high-grade silver on this property, silver in the magnetite veins. And we confirmed last year, basically in August, that the metallurgy confirmed that this is silver, that the silver comes in the form of silver halides. And that's a significant finding. It's not common in the Cordillera or Western US silver deposits and throughout Mexico, not a common form of silver, and yet 80+%, 85+% of the silver that we have here, and there's good silver numbers, very high-grade silver numbers in silver and magnetite, comes in the form of silver halides. Silver halides are silver chloride, iodide, bromide, fluoride. So, and the significance of that is that it's again, like I said, not common, but is consistent with this IOCG type model that we're pursuing here. So that was a very interesting and compelling geological discovery in 2021. We found a similar, less significant, but also meaningfully important form of copper that was pewteronite, which is not common. Also consistent with, it comes with a little bit of nickel and some cobalt. The Pewteran plateaus in Russia, it's not common form of copper to find in Cordillera. We found that in the current hole that we're in as we get closer to what we think is the intrusive at the bottom. So that was mineralogy is very important here. With those two discoveries, kind of gave us some important information, confirmations. And then we also have this extensive gold copper zone on surface that looks structurally like it's 3 kilometers long. We've done in about 700-meter intervals. We've done 4 trenches, significant trenches, reported gold and copper in each of those trenches. The trend is almost 3 kilometers long through the property. And so we'll do some infill on that, significant amounts of infill on that this year. But that could be a very interesting geological feature also. So there's lots of good stuff, Nicholas, coming here. We're drilling, we're drilling to hit this intrusive with a large drill now. We're drilling to hit the anomalies off of the silver veins where they come to surface, and we're doing work on this gold copper zone on surface. Each one of these 3 initiatives could result in major geological information that would change the dynamic for us pretty quickly. So from an 18 million valuation, it's for the market to determine, but what we're seeking to confirm is, the deposit types that we're after here would be, have tremendous metal inventories of high-grade copper, gold, and in our instance, we believe silver, could have a pretty dynamic outcome on the share price. That's our aspiration. That's what we're seeking. We're seeking to confirm geologically, and the market will determine, how that's valued if we're successful in proving that thesis.
The 2021 Expiration update that you released out, if you could just give a general summary and what it really means for the company, its valuation and progress and moving forward for 2022 and beyond.
Yeah, okay. The 2021, we're still very live to having an IOCG discovery here at San Javier. And that would be big news. So we confirmed with that mineralogy that this is the right type of things that we're seeing. That silver in the form of silver halides was very significant. It's not common, and it's significant that the silver that we see, and we see very good silver numbers here. They're very high-grade silver veins in silver and magnetite, but that silver comes in the form of silver halides. That's significant. So we're still live to the IOCG model. We're very close to what we think is the intrusive where we're drilling now. We're mobilize a bigger drill to be able to get at it, and then also We're going to be drilling, large magnetic anomalies much nearer to surface on the northern part of the property. There'll be 2 drills going here within less than a week from now. So the fact that we're still live to this IOCG model, I think, is the most important outcome from 2021. Where there were delays, there were COVID delays. The assay lab, the longest turnaround time is 126 days. That's long. That's not unacceptably long. So there were delays in the assay lab. There were delays with our drilling. We drilled. We drilled only. We engaged the company at a very competitive cost, but their experience was somewhat limited. So they were drilling on one shift for a while. They had a lot of problems with that drill, and then we pushed it beyond its capacity, beyond its limits. And so we're only at on our 4th hole here. However, much of that will improve dramatically here in 2022. So we're still live. We're after a major change in understanding for the geology of San Javier, and if we're successful in that, I would our objective is to support the thesis that we have this deposit type, and that might ultimately support a significant revaluation of our share price.
Now, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but where would you like to see the company in 2 to 3 years, and through that process, increasing shareholder value?
I would like to see confirmation this year that we have this deposit type, and I would expect that would support a significant revaluation for our shares from an $18 million market cap. 2 to 3 years, much more information about it, and with confirmation, I think that significant interest can ensue in this area. There's good. We have great neighbors, great neighbors. Both of them are very, very good companies, very well run, good, qualified people that understand geology, that understand, and they're both drilling and they're getting good results. There's lots of copper, lots of gold, lots of mineralization in this area. So, and our other objective, the other thing we do here at our little company is we look for cash flow. We have some cash flow. We want more cash flow, and that cash flow allows us to protect our treasury shares from unnecessary dilution while we pursue this, this geological thesis that would unlock great value, we believe, from this project, from the San Javier project. So I would see more of that. I think there's prospects for more of that, but I think 2022 we're going to have some very meaningful geological news at San Javier, and so what happens 2 to 3 years would be driven by that outcome, I would expect, because I think that can change the dynamic and the level of interest in this project in this area.
So, Chris, in conclusion, then, why should investors still consider the company as a good long-term investment opportunity?
Well, number one, we're alive to this thesis of IOCG discovery at San Javier. If we're successful in that, it's going to be a great outcome for our shareholders and for all those that have supported and participated in the process. Number two, we have some cash flow, and we look to nurture that and possibly do more of that. And our objective is to create per share value, and we can protect our treasury share issuance if we're able to support cash flow. So I see that's really the key to long-term sustainability. Our gas wells that we have now, they're long life, low risk. There's gas pipelines on there, so they're a very steady flow, source of revenue. I think it's been a quiet year in the precious metals. It hasn't been easy for the junior explorers, but that can change. And in the context of that, we've gained a lot of information in 2021 that could lead us to the type of discovery that we're after at San Javier in 2022, and that would have a very compelling dynamic for our valuation. That's our aspiration this year.
So, Chris, thank you for joining us here at the Wall Street Ledger. We wish you and the team there future success.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. It's great to talk with you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye now.
Our featured guest has been Chris Berlet, President and CEO at Canuc Resources. Canuc Resources currently trades shares over the counter market, ticker CNUCF, as well for Canadian investors, ticker CDA on the venture. Thank you for joining us here.